Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're here to talk about some board games.
Mm-hmm.
This episode is sponsored by Gray Fox Games because they sponsor now our Wednesday ridiculous banter and off-topic episodes.
Yeah.
They clearly see the quality.
Yes.
Clearly.
High quality.
Indeed.
High quality banter.
Indeed.
It's what we specialize in. Yeah.
Crystallized into its purest form.
We're the meth
like...
of board gaming.
I mean, I can't find. I want to say you're wrong, but I can't.
I just don't want it to be right.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Adrian. You've helped us realize something about ourselves.
We've all learned something here today.
Yep. And the world got a little bit worse.
Indeed. Right on.
Speaking of drugs, no.
It was, yeah, you just got back from a bachelor party weekend.
Yes.
In
Cripple Creek.
Cripple Creek. That's
Yes.
what it was. I was drawing a blank.
I am hot off the return from said bachelor party. Drove back from the Springs area today and then went home for 2 seconds to make sure the digital download of God of War started on my PS4 because I left Friday. And then I came here to record.
Huzzah.
I am feeling fine.
Yeah?
All of my cohorts, however,
Oh, yeah.
are pretty rough.
Yeah.
Was it because you knew you had to do this right after? Or
I did not hit it as hard last night as I did Friday. We were snowed in Friday. Like, we went over a pass. It was like ice on everything. Barely able to make it into Cripple Creek. And then we were like, fuck it. We're not walking to the casinos. And the shuttle wasn't running because of the snow. So we just got blasted.
Gotcha.
I brought lots of beer. So
How quickly did that go?
the only thing, we went through almost all of it. I think I brought 3 cases and there was 2 cases, or there was 1 case left. But they had brought some like Warsteiner or something. Like they're weird, like 11.7 ounce cans. They're not 12 ounce cans. They're German imported. And then some other, like, it was called like Cold Snacks or something. It was like a specific brand of crap beer.
Was it crap?
It was PBR
So yes.
esque. Yeah, it wasn't good beer, but sometimes you just wanted to hydrate and have a crappy beer.
I do not know the feeling.
Because I brought a lot of Baptist.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went through personally probably 4 of those bottles between the 3 Friday night, and everyone's seen me at 3 to 4 Baptist bottles
Yes.
solo
yes, we
before.
have.
So
Yeah.
China number 1 popular.
China number 1 popular. But I'm a fun drunk.
Yeah.
So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I lost $20 gambling. We brought a bunch of board games. Like, one of the other guys that was up there is into board games. He brought this game called Quartz that we almost played. It's like a blind bag, like different gems are of different values, and it's a fuckload of like take that, and it's like no you, and like a lot of counters and stuff like that of dwarves. But if you pick 2 obsidians out, you're cut and injured, and you have to go to the med bay to heal. So your day of work is over, and the obsidian cut your mining pack, so you lost all your jewels too.
That's
Damn.
rude.
That sucks.
Yeah, it seemed like an interesting game. I read the rules to it, but we never ended up playing it. But it was, if you want some interaction, it seemed like it was a game that had a significant amount of that. But it was cool because cards that you had at the end of the game, all the cards have a dollar value on them, and you get that money at the end of the game. So a really powerful card, if you held on to it, could be worth a lot of money at the end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah, it sounded neat. Didn't get a chance to play it, but it could have been okay.
Yeah. Did you play anything while you're up there?
No,
Video games or
I mean,
otherwise,
yeah,
or?
we played Grand Theft Auto 5. We discovered that cheat codes were on PS4, so we used a lot of cheats. Explosive punches was a lot of fun until my friend punched a car and the car just exploded and died. We found there's a Skyfall cheat. You just start falling out of the sky.
I thought all of a sudden you're doing James Bond shit.
No,
That's what I thought too.
you just spawn up high and then you fall.
Like immediately where you were, but just like
Yes.
1,000 feet up in the air.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. You get some like PUBG. You don't get much like horizontal movement.
Mhm.
Grand Theft Auto 5, you can go like all the way across that fucking.
You can glide.
Yeah.
I forget what that the whatever that's called, the down to over,
Uh-huh.
like, for however many feet you fall down, you go that much over.
Yeah.
Whatever that thing is called.
Yes.
Like gliders. They call it something, or it's like for every foot they fall down, they go 10 feet forward or something like that.
Yes, this was like 100 feet forward for every foot you fell.
Yeah.
So, played a lot of co-op PS4 games like Broforce, Sports Friends, Towerfall. Those were fun.
Broforce is a ton of fun.
Yeah, drank a lot. Lost $20 at the casino slots.
You mentioned, yeah.
At no point was ever over $20, so that was kind of, or else I would have immediately punched out. $20.01. I'll call that a win for the weekend. Cash me out, please. Yeah, ate at a lot of diners. No parasites have shown up yet, so
Well, that's good.
yeah, a lot of French toast.
Right on.
Yeah.
What about you, Zach? How was your weekend? Did you get any games played or do anything exciting?
It worked, but then I just finished an escape room earlier today.
Okay.
It was Egyptian tomb themed. Basically, Indiana Jones got caught in a tomb and died, and we had to try and figure out how to. And then basically, we went into the tomb, found out he died, but then the entrance collapsed behind us, and then we had an hour to figure out what to do before the entire thing collapsed on us.
Okay.
We beat it with 20 minutes and 5 seconds to spare.
Wow, so you fucking crushed it.
Yes. It was. I looked it up afterwards. It had a 23% success rate.
Wow.
And the average one was like 48 minutes or something like that.
Okay.
And the quickest though was like 33 minutes, so we were still 6 off of that.
Okay.
But this is Escape Works Denver, I think, because there's a couple different ones that around here. So far I've done 3. 2 of them has been theirs, and I've liked theirs the best so far.
Okay.
I like the Outbreak one a little bit more, but that's because it was a little bit harder and there were more like red herrings and stuff.
That makes sense.
The problem with this one is it's like linear. Like there were 3 rooms you had to get through in order to break out of the tomb, and so there wasn't like everything in one room was like designed around helping you break through the door, and then the next one the same sort of thing. Like there were. I know Ant, friend of the show, he did it with us too, and he was like there were only like 1 or 2 puzzles going on at the same time,
Okay.
so to speak, and so it can be a little annoying, I guess. And that like the next one we do is probably going to be the casino heist one because it's the hardest one they have.
Okay.
That one only has a 12% chance.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
Okay.
But it was a lot of fun. I mean, I still enjoyed myself. It was hot in there.
I enjoyed myself. It was hot.
It was, it was a bunch of people. It was a small-ish room. They had just sand on the ground because it was the tomb.
Okay.
And I was like, can't you just pump the AC in here? I get that it's supposed to be swampy because people haven't been in this tomb in thousands of years.
Uh-huh.
And also parking was horrible because the Rockies.
Okay.
And it's a Sunday, so all of the street parking is free. And so everybody who was a Rockies fan is like, I'm going to get street parking.
Indeed.
Those assholes.
Yeah, I ended up getting one that was like 6 blocks away. And I was like, yes, didn't have to pay for it.
Yes.
Now I have to walk 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's worth it, though.
Right on.
Yeah.
My weekend was pretty low key. Megan had worked like basically she'd been at work 10 of the last like 11 days going into the weekend, and so we were both like, well, we're not going to do anything productive, right? Okay, cool. We're on the same page. So we slept in a whole bunch on like Saturday and Sunday. Last night, Saturday night, we went and got real drunk. Well, Megan got real drunk. I didn't get too drunk. But we walked over about a mile away over to Tennyson Street and hit up Call to Arms and D Steeg, 2 really good breweries over in that area. Had some good beers, just kind of hung out and talked. Didn't have dinner, which contributed to the drunkenness. You know, there was no base layer.
Really?
No base layer there to...
No, there is a base layer of alcohol.
Yes.
The wine was the base layer.
Yeah,
Because
and
I
then
gave
there's...
Megan a giant glass of wine right before we left.
Yep, and then more alcohol. It was an alcohol sandwich.
Yes. Yeah. It was wine.
That sounded like my weekend.
And then 2 saisons sandwiched with a 3rd saison.
More of an open face sandwich.
Yes. But yeah, by the time we walked back home from that little excursion, she was getting very chatty. Megan gets very chatty when she's drunk. It's one of my favorite things about her. It's quite humorous. Otherwise, sat around on the couch, played Subnautica. Megan picked
Great
that
game.
up. Yep, been enjoying that. And then watched. I've been watching a little bit of Lost in Space, the new Netflix series.
How was it?
I heard it's not great.
It's not great. It's entertaining enough that I'm gonna keep watching it, but there's a lot of things that happen in it where I'm just like, what? No, like how the fuck? Like they crash. You know, spoiler alert, episode 1, they crash.
What? I thought they started off somewhere and then they're like, we know exactly where we're going,
right.
And then they got there.
Yes. They were never once lost in the entire series of Lost in Space.
Yeah.
Netflix is making
drastic changes. No. It's literal. It's just a reboot of Lost, but in space.
Oh, I'd watch the shit out of that show. Some sort of space island.
Yep.
All right.
Also,
a planet.
Okay.
But no, so they crash on this like
space
glacier.
polar bears.
Yeah. Why is there a polar bear in space?
There is. It's just floating, Ted, because of lack of oxygen.
Well, I want to know how it was there.
Yeah. Well, and there is no oxygen on this island either, so they're also all just dead.
They were dead the whole time. Clearly. Boom.
That was the twist.
That was the twist.
It was so obvious that you never saw it coming.
Yes.
But no, the thing that bothered me in this show, like right out the gate, is they crash on this like glacier, and they get off of the ship, and then the ship like falls through the ice of the glacier into the water underneath the glacier, because that's how glaciers work. They're like a giant frozen pond, and it sinks because one, apparently all of the exterior doors are just exterior doors like for a house. There's no airlocks or anything to keep the entire fucking spaceship from flooding when it sinks. And then somebody has to swim down there to get like, I don't know, battery or something. I don't know what the fuck they were doing, but she swims down there and she's like searching around in the ship, and they're like, oh, the temperature up here is dropping real fast. It's going to freeze. You got to get out of there. And so then like she's swimming and the water's like slowly freezing around her, like frosting. And I was like, that's pretty sure that's not how water works. Not how freezing happens.
It tends to freeze from the top down.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's in space, so what do I know?
Well, and it's also apparently so cold that this water is like this huge, like 30-meter deep thing is freezing solid
in moments.
Rapidly in moments, and the people up above who are like waiting for this girl to resurface are like, nah, that's cool. We're gonna stand out here with our helmets off, faces to the wind, like
as she's in not a swimsuit.
She's
assume?
in her spacesuit, which
okay,
which eventually she ends up becoming encased in the ice. Like, doesn't quite make it, and so they're trying to get her out. But her suit keeps her from freezing to death and also being crushed.
And also having air.
Well, it's a spacesuit. It's got self-contained air.
Yes.
But that's the clock. They got to get her out before she runs out of air.
Sounds dumb.
Yeah, real dumb.
I like Lost in Space better.
Yeah. But yeah, so... but I don't know. It's entertaining enough. Like I said, I'm going to definitely finish this season because I'm a sadist for bad sci-fi. And this is real bad sci-fi.
Netflix has been doing pretty well with the bad sci-fi lately.
Yeah.
Unless it was Spectral, which was awesome.
I've heard good things. I still haven't got to watch that.
Should watch it. Highly recommend.
But right on. What about board games? Have you guys gotten to play any board games recently since last time we were in here talking about board games?
No.
Shocking, Jeff.
Oh, no.
He was doing Blood Bowl.
I played Blood
so
Bowl.
Bloody Minute will be your board game coverage.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
we spun off as many Blood Bowl games as there was into its own game night because we didn't want to take over game night.
Good.
Also, Ant was impatient about me telling him where game night was and was like, fuck it, we're just doing this at Barrels.
And we had so many games that we would have taken over most of the tables anyways.
Yeah, it would have been real bad.
Yeah.
But what about you, Zach? What board games have you played recently?
So our friend Paul is a big fan of dexterity games, which
Correct.
we are also. And he ended up he finally got his copy of Tumblin Dice.
Yes.
Which is basically, it's just a series of boards where you have a die and you're trying to knock it onto farther series, and they're worth more points the farther it goes along. Because it's like the far edges is like 4 times whatever the die is, whereas like just past the line from where you're hitting is just 1 time.
Right.
And you're basically, everybody has 4 dice. And you go in turn order, and then you can you're trying to knock other people's dice off while still getting good dice from yourself. And then it's just I'm assuming we played with the correct rules, and it was a lot of fun. It was pretty ridiculous mainly because one of the reasons at least is the little platform where you hit the dice from. You can as long as the die touches that board, that's all that counts, or that's all that matters. So you can flick it off, you can try and roll it off, you can slide it off, or you can just bounce it off.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. I liked it. What did you think?
I actually surprisingly liked it. I thought I would think it was bullshit, but it was just silly enough.
And quick enough too.
And quick enough, and I mean, you're not. It's not quite like shuffleboard or something where there's a solid amount of skill in like getting your disc to stop where you want it to or something like that. Like this one, like you're rolling these dice down these like series of steps. You have no control over where they're actually bouncing or going. So it's just fun and silly. And sometimes you knock somebody's dice and it goes from being a 1 pip up on the ×1 modifier, and it falls down 2 levels as now a 6 on the ×3 modifier.
And you're like, God damn it.
Well, son of a bitch. But then a couple turns later, somebody does it to you.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a surprising amount of fun. It was you, me, Paul, and Wes.
Yeah.
We played a couple of games of every man for themselves, and then we paired up into 2v2 and played that way. And Wes and I thoroughly stomped you and Paul.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite satisfying.
Yeah. I liked how you kept thinking that I threw the game.
I really did.
Just to be like, it'd be me and Paul playing. I was like, because of how random it is, like I was just having fun and I was doing bullshit things, and it worked out really well for me. One game did not work out well for me for most of the other ones. Yeah. And I was completely okay with that.
Yeah, but I thought it was fun. I would definitely play it again. It doesn't take up a lot of space either, which is kind of nice, especially for game night. Like you could go, maybe find a table off to the side that you could push it up against the wall too, so the ones that bounce off the end don't just like go. They maybe hit the wall and stop.
Right.
But yeah, I liked it.
I played one more dexterity game that he also brought.
Yes.
Coconuts.
Which is ridiculous.
This is a Korean game, Jeff, where basically everybody has a monkey in front of them that has like basically a spring-loaded arm that you pull back, and like a catapult, you put a rubber coconut in there, and then you launch it, and he basically throws the coconut behind him, and you're trying to get him into these yellow and red cups.
Okay.
Except it's also a rubber ball, basically. So even if you land it in the cup, a lot of times it'll just bounce right out of the cup, and you're just, God damn it.
Okay.
You're trying to get, the goal of the game is that when you get one of your coconuts in a cup, you take that cup and you put it in front of your monkey, and you're trying to stack a 6-cup pyramid.
Okay.
And if you do that, then you win. But otherwise, it just comes down to how many coconuts are in your cups.
Yeah, because I didn't play, but I was watching them, and like when you shoot a coconut into a cup, you don't take it out. Like that coconut is now lost into that cup for the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so eventually you can run out of coconuts in play. Like they can all end up in cups. And at that point, just whoever has the most coconuts in their cups would win.
Which I'll go ahead and tell you, on more than one occasion, I I hit a coconut directly into Wes or Paul's cups. And I'm like
on the other side of the table.
Yeah, on the other side of the table. And I'm like, God damn it. All right. Well, there you go. So the yellow cups, you just take them and you put them in front of you. The red cups, you do the same thing, but red cups let you shoot again.
Yeah, Wes. Zach kept hitting red cup, and then like as he'd be lining up his next shot, Wes would shoot. It's like, Wes, I got a red cup. I get to shoot again.
And he always hit too. That's what was great. He's gonna always hit a cup, and I'm like, sorry, Wes, that doesn't count. I get to shoot.
Yep.
And guess what? I would not aim for that cup, and my shot would just go fucking anywhere except like in a cup. And so it's like, Wes, your shot didn't influence mine at all, but you can't have that one because I was supposed to go, not you.
Yep.
There are cards that you can play with too, that everybody gets 2, and they are like, you play it before an opponent shoots, and then you basically tell that opponent, you have to aim for this cup.
Aha.
They all have different abilities.
Yeah.
Like one of them's like shoot blind.
Yeah, you can't look at where you're shooting.
One of them shoot from far away, like shoot from an arm's length away from the line.
Yeah. Skip your turn. Or was it skip your turn?
Yeah, there's one that's just you skip your turn, you don't
yes,
shoot.
Or you shoot twice and stuff like that. But it's another ridiculous kids style dexterity game, but it was a lot of fun because of how ridiculous it was. And you have to make sure wherever you're playing, you need to have like 1 or 2 people that are just on coconut duty. Because you shoot a coconut and then it just flies off anywhere. Which is really good that Adrian was not playing because he was our coconut garçon.
Yeah, because they're little rubber balls, but they're not even like round. Like they're like coconut shaped. So they're odd shapes that take weird bounces and just disappear into the ether.
I will say also though the cards were the worst quality cards I've ever felt.
They're real
Wow.
bad.
I was like, as soon as I hand him, I'm like, oh, these are bad. And I'm like, and Adrian's like, what? And then I hand it to him, and immediately, as soon as he touches it, it like folds in your hand like paper.
Wow.
It's garbage.
It's like newspaper.
Pretty much, yeah. Shiny newspaper.
Yeah, it's real bad.
Yeah. But the monkeys were well done. The coconuts were well done. The best dexterity games are the ones where they're just ridiculous, I feel. Suspend, Tumblin Dice and stuff like that. Rhino Hero. And so it's all about having a good time, and that game brought it in coconut spades.
So Coconuts is actually rated number 3 on the children's BGG rankings. And Paul was joking that his goal is now to own the top 5, which are Rhino Hero Super Battle.
He's got that.
Outfoxed.
He doesn't have that.
Coconuts.
He's got that.
Ghost Fight and Treasure Hunters, and regular Rhino Hero.
Okay. Well, he's got 3 out of the 5.
Yeah. But,
Whatever Ghost Hunts is.
Yeah, I don't Ghost Fight and Treasure Hunters or Outfoxed, yeah. But that's his new objective for board gaming, is to get those 5. Yeah, well, I played, like we talked about, I also played Tumblin Dice. I didn't play Coconuts. But before Tumblin Dice, we played a 4-player game of Jamie Stegmaier's older game, Euphoria, Building a Better Dystopia, which I actually really liked. It uses dice as workers and has this kind of interesting thing where you have an overall tracker for like level of knowledge, which is a modifier to your dice rolls. And if your dice roll plus that modifier is ever greater than or equal to 16, you lose your highest die. Like, that person was too smart. They realized they're in a dystopia and they like pieced out. They ran away or something. So you lose workers regularly, which I expected to maybe kind of piss me off, but I found it was mitigatable enough that it wasn't a huge problem. And it was pretty easy to just to flip and get a new worker when you needed one. If like, I got up to 4 workers pretty quick. And then you learn really quickly that you don't ever want to pull all 4 of your dice and roll them at once. You want to be like, I'm going to leave that 1 and that 2 on those spaces out there where they're either blocking somebody or like they could maybe get kicked out later, and I'll roll them separately. I'll roll these other 2 dice, this 5 and this 6. And oh, look at that. Like, because I made sure the 1 and the 2 were still on the board, my dice total still under 16.
And always keep your knowledge as low as you can.
Yes. Yeah, you definitely want to keep your workers dumb.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, but I liked it. I thought it was kind of a clever little worker placement game. We definitely, I think, kind of messed up early in the game in that we didn't build locations in 3 of the 4 faction areas until like the mid to late game, and those are definitely a major source of additional actions and a major way to get points on the board. But even messing that up, not doing that early enough in the game, it still took like an hour and a half with the rules teach.
Yeah,
maybe
sounds
2
about
hours.
right.
Like,
I think it was
short.
Yeah. I think it was like an hour and 20 minutes after we taught the rules. And that's still, at game night, so it's going to take longer. And people learning and be like, how does this work again? And stuff like that. So,
yeah. But I thought it played surprisingly smooth. I know Paul didn't really care for it. He felt it was too narrow in what you needed to do.
Not enough variety in terms of getting points or getting those stars out.
Yeah, or getting the things you needed to get the stars. Like, oh, this all boils down to like just
getting cards
cycling through cards.
Yeah.
Which, I want to play it some more. I want to try. There's a huge stack of building tiles and a bunch of different variety in a lot of the starting cards and things like the little faction like bonus cards you get and yeah, I think that there's definitely a good game there, and I want to experience some more of what it has to offer.
Right.
What did you think about it, Zach?
I mean, I thought it was okay. I think I liked it more than Paul, but it definitely sort of blended in a little bit into I definitely agreed with a lot of the points that he was saying, that it felt like there should be a little bit more variety. I didn't care that you didn't know what the buildings were until you flipped them over. But there is definitely a difference between some of those buildings where it's like some are just like any one resource and then a card, whereas another one is like you have to get like a card or a resource and then a specific artifact card, which is like
really hard to do.
Yeah. I didn't feel much of a progression like at the end of the game versus the beginning. because I mean you do get a little bit more, a couple more powers through those recruits, but some of them were like stupidly specific that they didn't activate unless certain things happen. And then it was like a one-time use, but some seemed really useful. I don't know. It just, I because of that, I just like after playing, it was like I felt like I got the game a bit more. So I think that's the reason I was doing better. Like, oh, I see how this works. You can get these things to get these other things. But it's sort of a cube converter or a resource converter in that regard. It's just, oh, I got these resources. Now I'm going to convert them into this, and then I'll turn those into these cards, and then I turn these cards into points. I would have to play it again, like you said. I know that you were talking about drafting.
Yeah, the advanced rules have you draft buildings and like the little character bonus cards, and I think that would help a lot.
The character bonus ones, I would definitely agree with. Like I said, for me, I don't care. Like I didn't care what the buildings were coming up, but that's just me. I don't hate having unknown things that I have to that I can't plan for until they're out, and then it's like, okay. But I can definitely understand a lot of people not liking that.
Yeah.
But I was surprised at how quickly it played, because it did say 60 minutes on the box.
Yep.
And we were just like, oh wow, that was actually
accurate.
Pretty accurate, yeah.
I think that pretty much wraps up what we've been playing, which brings us over to Jeff's Bloody Minute time. Jeff played some Blood Bowl.
Yes, I played some Blood Bowl. A bunch of people played the Blood Bowl this week because, I don't know, everyone felt like playing all their games on Wednesday, and then we decided to do it all at the same place. So I was there. Matt was there playing Ant. David was there with his Season 3 Nurgle team. I think he did pretty well in his game. And then our friend Tom was going to play his game, but his match ended up not showing up and not saying anything. And I think it was the third time he got blown off, and Ant was like, all right, you get the concede. Like,
damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, because Ant is in on all of our scheduling conversations.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
So he's definitely the one to make those calls. And then it was my game against Frank. I like Frank a lot. He's one of the best players in the league, in my opinion. Definitely one of the most veteran. Always nice to play against. Nice guy. Had a squeaker of a win against him last season on some orky bullshit pass plays. But this game, I finally had most of my team. I was down a Black Orc from my previous game against David, who missed next game. One of my fantastic Strength 4 characters, which sucks. But I did have my thrower, so I was able to move the ball in this game. Frank did get some inducements, but he just took some 2 Bloodweiser kegs, which give you +1s to the KO rolls and an extra reroll because he didn't have many rerolls, which brought him up to 3. The first half goes, I received the ball. I got a quick snap, which let me move everyone once. I was able to catch the ball with my kickoff return on my thrower. And then we sort of just clunked against each other for a while. I got some lucky knockouts in that first half, but was unfortunately unable to score during that first half. Didn't really have many casualties. The curse of the knockout came back. That is where I get tons and tons of knockouts and no casualties, which means I roll an 8 or 9 or sometimes a 7 with Mighty Blow. So I was rolling 7s and 8s with Mighty Blow, turns it to an 8 or a 9, and they go in the KO box. Like I said at the beginning, he had Bloodweiser kegs, which give him +1 to his KO rolls. So he was getting those guys back on a 2+. Had I rolled a 9, they would have gone casualty and been like out. He has a lot of regeneration on his team, and he probably still would have gotten a lot of those guys back, but that was a chance to have him out for the rest of the game. If I just roll KOs over and over and over, they just come back. So that's exactly what happened. Thankfully, at the end of the first half, we had 6 KOs, 4 to him, 2 to me. Thankfully, everything came back for me because I did not want to be at a number disadvantage because he was playing Necro, which has werewolves and Frankensteins and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, right, yeah.
His werewolves have Claw. Claw sucks, especially against...
That's everything's an armor 7.
Everything's a 7.
Ooh.
Yeah. So second half starts with a pitch invasion, which you're supposed to yell, which I have learned that you're supposed to yell pitch invasion. That is where you take every player on the field, you add your fame to the roll. Normally it's a 6. They're stunned. So he needed 5+ because he had fame. He had more fans in the crowd, basically. So he needed a 5+ to stun my guys, and I needed a 6 to stun his. We hit the exact statistical average. I stunned 2 of his that were zombies and totally useless. He stunned my troll, my entire left wing, and my thrower.
God damn.
Which was my safety. So
you had the ball first, or did he?
I had the ball first, so I was kicking to him. And then like an entire side, the safety and my troll all went down for 2 turns, basically. So I did best I could, knocked out a couple more. He immediately knocked out a couple more of mine. My troll, Throg, he's usually super good on the stupid rolls. He has definitely been above average on not rolling a 1 for him to be able to do anything that turn. This game, I had like 5 of them, which is a lot. 2 of which were immediately after that stun, which was my turn 1, stun, turn 2, 1, or end of turn 1, he rolls over, tries to get up turn 2, nothing, tries to get up turn 3, nothing. So he didn't even stand up until turn 4. I was able to kind of push around his dudes for a little while, but unfortunately the ball kind of finally got away into my end zone area. Finally, he scores 1 point, giving me 2 turns to come back. I had turned 7 and 8 of the second half. So what happens when he kicks the ball to me? Pitch invasion!
Again?
Again.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
You have to roll a 12 on the kickoff table for that to happen. Once again, I had 4 stunned guys, and I stunned 2 of his. Downside, he stunned my like plus move blitzer, who would have been my best target for actually getting in the end zone. It needed some die rolls to happen. I needed to get a guy. He had 2 tackle zones on the ball. I tried to hit one guy off. It was a 1 die. It was just both down, so we both just stood there. So I needed a 5+ re-roll to even get the ball into my thrower's hands to pass it, which unfortunately did not happen, and ending the game 0-1 for Frank.
I'm sorry, buddy.
I've gone win, draw, lose. So
You've been just worse. Every time you're just doing worse.
correct.
You can't do any worse than, well, I guess you could. All of your guys could just be casualtied out.
Yeah, I didn't take any. I took a badly hurt. There was only 1 casualty in the whole game. So he's back. I have full team strength.
That's good.
Which I haven't had for 2 games. I had my thrower out, and then I had a black orc out. And I'm going to be up against Chaos Pact next, which is they're Chaos, and they have Renegades. So they have like an orc, a goblin, a dark elf, a Skaven. You can only have 1 on your team. Then it has a troll, a minotaur, and an ogre. So you can get 3 big guys. And then you have marauders that are just kind of like humans. Thankfully, his plus strength marauder was killed in his last game, so I don't have to fight against that.
Nice.
Sucks for him, great for me.
Yeah.
He'll probably get some inducements against me. I am the highest team value by far, and I don't really know how to cut that down without just being like resetting players or just losing players to casualties, which is not really happening. So I've just sort of been like firing linemen that have no skill points to try and cut my team value.
Okay.
Yeah, because he could get like a 4th big guy against me, which would be like fighting a fucking ogre team that doesn't have snotlings on it. So that would be pretty brutal.
Yeah, that would
Sounds
suck.
like it would be, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Right on.
Yeah.
See, we shall. Do you have an idea when you're going to play him?
The new round hasn't started yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I needed to play last week before all the bachelor party shenanigans and stuff like that hit this week. So.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that wraps up the Bloody Minute, and with it, all of the banter, and we can move on to some news and Kickstarters.
I mean,
now.
I'm sure we'll cut in some banter sometime.
Oh, yeah.
in all of
There's
this.
always a low level of banter. It's like a low level hum, just constantly there.
Just kind of like a fan blowing in the background,
Yes.
drifting
It's
you,
just white noise.
drifting
yeah, it's
you
just
to
something
sleep.
you get used to.
Right.
falling asleep to it.
Mm-hmm.
But next up is news. First up in news, Mansions of Madness, that wonderful Fantasy Flight game, is getting a full-on PC game edition.
Third person and everything.
Yeah, like full-on fucking game.
This is from was it Asmodee Digital? Like I know that
Yes.
they've been wanting to. They've been they created that to make actual games, like more computer games out of board games.
Yeah. It's being developed by Lucky Hammers, who are also the ones who did the development behind Terraforming Mars, the digital game of that, and then being published by Asmodee Digital. So,
but it's not coming out for like a year.
Yeah, there's not a lot of information on it. There's a screenshot that shows like you could see like the 4 characters up in the top left. You could see one character who's down like in the foyer of this like big mansion building thing right by the
Would you
stairway.
say it's a mansion?
What?
Yeah, maybe like one of madness.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's crazy in there.
I don't think so.
That's a mansion of sanity.
There you go. Why can't we have one of those?
Yeah.
Can we have a game about that, please?
No,
Clue? No.
there's none. See you thinking about it, Zach. There's not. But yeah, so we'll have more information about that. Mansions of Madness, Mother's Embrace is the name.
I'm sure it'll be a scenario that'll probably have 3 different general gists to the scenario, kind of like the main board game does.
What I was kind of thinking.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll have more information as that comes along.
Indeed. Next up in news, Fury of Dracula is coming to a 4th edition from Wizkids, which we knew, but now we're getting some hot new details on the game.
Yeah, such as a release date. It will be coming out in July. They have 5 all-new miniatures that are going to be painted.
Fully painted.
Yep.
In the game.
Yes.
Now we don't need someone like Ant to actually
Correct.
paint them for us.
And they're increasing the size of the cards to large poker-sized cards.
They're not Fantasy Flight, so then like we're not going to do those small ass cards.
Right.
Yeah. So they're all full-size cards.
Yep.
Yeah, that's basically still the extent of the information. There is a gallery on this article that we'll have linked up in the show notes that has all of the miniatures and like what they look like, so you can get a feel for what the paint job and the miniature quality look like, which I think they look pretty good.
Yeah, they actually look really good on this preview, but we'll see what they actually look like.
Because these definitely look like digital renders, not final sculpts.
They look very nicely painted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see what that actually ends up looking like. But from gameplay wise, I mean, it even uses the same box art as the previous edition, so I doubt there's going to be really anything changing about the game in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Unlike the last 3 editions, which have all been pretty different.
Yeah,
I would
core
have to assume
gameplay's
so,
been
yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
But they've made.
They've made tweaks and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some.
Although it doesn't say that it includes a new rule book, so they might go through and tweak some things.
Also, because the Fantasy Flight does the 2 rulebook thing,
Yeah.
but this one will not.
Yeah.
Because that's Fantasy Flight's thing.
Right.
Basically, it's like, let's make this Fantasy Flight game not Fantasy Flight. I think that's what the main changes are going to be.
Yeah.
Seems like it.
So, Fury of Dracula. You can buy it soon. Old Fury of Dracula can still never buy.
Well, you could pay aftermarket prices.
But why?
I don't know.
Yeah. Next up in news, What's Your Game has announced a whole bunch of new editions of a bunch of games that I'm sure Adrian cares about.
Yes. Yeah.
This was for Adrian.
They have announced new editions of Madeira and Zanguao are going to be going to Kickstarter. They don't have a specific date. They've just said very soon, and that they're going to include upgraded components, some new variants, and some like Kickstarter expansions.
But you also will also be able to get like upgrade packs
Yeah.
if you have the first editions, which I know a lot of people are happy with.
Yes, which is huge for me because I previously worked out a deal with Brandon from What Did You Play This Week to buy his used copy of Madeira, and then they announced this, and I was like, well, shit. But then they're like, oh, there'll be you could just upgrade your existing games. Like, oh, okay, cool. Then I'm still gonna buy his copy.
Bonus.
Yup. They also announced that the Kickstarter for Brazil, which has been kind of in development hell, it's been taking longer than they would like to get out there. It will now have a Kickstarter in late 2018 is the new plan for a 2019 release. So exciting news for heavy gamers who like What's Your Game games, which includes me. I'm very excited for this.
Sounds like it. I can hear the jubilance in your voice.
Yeah.
Yay, spending money on Kickstarter.
That's the big like, oh, I'm really excited for new editions of these games, but my wallet's not excited about having to pay for these new games.
I understand that.
Yeah.
The Dinosaur Island Kickstarter is over, and
Oh, did that just end?
$70. Thankfully, I have the base game at least.
Yeah.
So I don't have to shell out another.
Yeah.
another amount for that.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Did you get the new board that they fixed? The under construction board?
I think that comes with, I don't know.
Okay.
Should. Yeah. It should have come. I believe it was a stretch goal that they are
That's
like,
good.
we're going to fix this fucked up thing. I still love that they're like, we're going to fix this board for reasons. Or like, we know what. We'll fix that thing.
We know what you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's updated information from What's Your Game.
Indeed.
So
Next up in news, the 2018 Mensa Select winners have been announced.
yeah, so Mensa, for those of you who aren't aware, is an organization for like super smart people, essentially. Really summing it up there simply. But they have announced that their 2018 select winners are going to be Ex Libris, Raiders of the North Sea, Constellations, Azul, and Photosynthesis, which I've played Raiders and Azul. Super like Azul. Raiders was fun. I think it had some interesting mechanics. We did a review on it recently. You can go listen to that. I know Paul and I think a couple other people have Ex Libris, but we haven't had a chance to play it yet. And I would really like to play Photosynthesis at some point. I'd never actually heard of Constellations though. That was the one on here that was.
It was a first time published game from a publisher, from a guy who created it, and when this actually got linked on Reddit, like the guy was just like, you could tell he was super excited because he actually commented on the Reddit thread and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like I've heard good things about it, but also like you, I haven't really heard that much about it.
Fair enough.
But yeah, they usually choose these based, like I know, was it Suburbia? No, is it Suburbia? No, what is it called?
I don't know.
Is it
I don't know what you're
Suburbia?
thinking.
The Ted Allspot game.
Yeah, that is a Ted Allspot game.
Yes, Suburbia had the Mensa Select winner too.
Okay.
So it
Because you need to be a Mensa member to calculate your end score.
yeah,
in
100%.
Suburbia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to pull out a graphing calculator.
Yes.
And they usually choose it if it's original in concept, challenging, and well designed.
Yeah, like
So.
2017 was Amalgam, Around the World in 80 Days, Clank, Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle, and Imagine, which I haven't played Amalgam or Imagine, or Around the World in 80 Days for that matter. But yeah, looks like they always going to pick 5 of them.
Yeah.
So nothing too ridiculous there.
But hopefully it'll boost their sales a bit.
Indeed. Another sticker to throw on a box that says, hey, somebody recognizes
Mensa.
this is a good game.
Somebody thinks this is good. Smarties like this.
Smarties.
Are you stupid? No, then you should buy this game.
Just put that on the box. We'll recommend that to Gray Fox.
Yeah,
Yes.
On the next
only
game.
stupid people don't have this game.
Yep.
I don't want to be stupid. Give me.
Perfect. Yes.
Next up on news, let's move this along.
Next up on news, 538 has a pretty sweet article about how Gloomhaven is the best game ever? Question mark?
Yes.
Because maybe it doesn't need to be.
No, it definitely does not need to be. So no, I was really happy to see this because I love 538. They're like a statistics website that do everything from politics and sports to economics and board games, apparently.
Mhm.
And they kind of take a look at things from a statistical standpoint. And so that's kind of the whole point of this article regarding Gloomhaven is talking about how it stands out from all of the other 7 games that have been number 1 on BGG over the years, in that the vast majority of Gloomhaven scores are like 10s and then a fair amount of 9s, and then it tapers way off. Whereas like, you know, Pandemic Legacy had a pretty strong curve that way with lots of 9s and 10s, but like Twilight Struggle was actually the most rated, like most of its ratings were at 7, but then it had a lot of 9s and 10s that helped pull it up. And same thing with like Agricola when it was there. It was on the list for years before it finally worked its way up to number 1. Whereas games like Gloomhaven and Pandemic Legacy are like, oh, this is out, skyrockets to the top of the list. Which I think is
Well, I think that's also just part of just the increase in board, not only the increase in board gaming, so you have more people doing it, but then you have the, Kickstarters and then a lot of like very high profile games.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big things for Gloomhaven is mostly the only people who've played Gloomhaven were people who were interested in it and backed it.
Yep.
So it's got very high selection bias.
Or just happened upon a copy that they pre-ordered and ended up getting.
Yes.
Yes, one of the 8%,
9%.
9%. Sorry.
Yeah. Pandemic Legacy, it had that somewhat famous feud between people who wanted Pandemic Legacy to hit #1 and people who wanted Twilight Struggle to stay #1. Kind of all over the place.
Because it had been on there for years.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't like change.
Correct. So I don't know. I think it's interesting. The article talks that like it seems like the way Gloomhaven is on there that it should probably last for a while. But also if you look at how long Pandemic Legacy lasted and it has a similar distribution to what Gloomhaven did, I could easily see something coming along, some next big hot Kickstarter and overtaking Gloomhaven. I don't think that's completely unreasonable.
Yeah.
For there to be a little bit faster turnaround.
Well, I know the like when Pandemic Season 2 was like getting ready to come out, people were like, "Oh man, is it going to take? Is it going to be the new #1 and stuff like that?" And I don't know what it's at, but it's not anywhere near.
No,
I didn't have any sort of the same fervor that the first one did.
No, I think it made a significant departure from the. But I mean, it's at 33.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah,
it's still not where it didn't have the same trajectory, like exactly what you said.
Yeah, and then just like you were saying, Gloomhaven. And another one I would say is like Food Chain Magnet too are the reasons, like one of the reasons their stuff's so high is that the people that usually
it
self-selects, yes.
Unlike something like Catan that has such broad cultural appeal that people might hear about it and like, oh, I'll try this out, and then like, oh, screw this noise,
Yep.
rate it back.
Mm-hmm. Pandemic, right? Base Pandemic, same thing. Yeah, that if you're gonna like you said, a lot of people spending a lot of money on games. That it's only if they're not going to be like, oh, this is $100 game. I haven't heard of this. Let's just try it out.
At least not typically.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really cool article. I super recommend it. Mine has at the bottom for the read more section, the worst board games ever invented, which I will have to also check out. Maybe we'll talk about that next week.
That's it for news.
That is it for news. We can move on to some Kickstarters.
First up in Kickstarters is a GROWL. Well-funded 51,000 of its $8,000 goal, over 2,600 backers, and a bit over 2 weeks to back this one, which you can for $16 or $22, but do the $20 one because you can do 10 players with that one.
Yeah.
And you get a bag, a furry bag.
Yes.
A furry bag. That looks awkward. It's supposed to be a wolf, but it's just...
It looks like that thing from Sesame Street, I don't know what they're called.
The aliens. I think they're aliens. Yeah. But it looks like a caterpillar trying to eat a board game box.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little awkward. So this is basically supposed to be kind of a reimagining of Werewolf / Mafia that is a 10 to 15 minute card game in it. And like one of the things they have, everyone gets to bite, stab, heal, and give gold. So we all have power, not just the loud people. Definitely some of the things they say in this Kickstarter seems like they have an axe to grind against Werewolf. It's like somebody had a really bad time playing Werewolf and like, fuck this, I'm gonna make a better game. But yeah, essentially the way this game plays is you're going to start off with everybody getting dealt a card. Anybody who gets dealt a bite on the first round starts off as a werewolf. Then everybody's going to get 3 more cards, and at that point, anybody who has 3 bites is now a werewolf. And from there, you're going to go around taking turns where at the start of your turn, you'll take whatever the face-up card is on the deck, which could be like a bite, a stab, a charm, a hex, like all these different things. And you're going to choose to give it to somebody. And you keep playing like that until roughly every, I think it's roughly like a third of the way through the deck. There's a night card. And during the night, everybody takes 2 cards from their hands. You pass 1 to the left and pass 1 to the right. Everybody does that. And then you look at your new cards, and same thing. If at any point you have 3 bites, you become a werewolf. You just don't announce it. And then 2/3 of the way through.
Excuse me, guys. Just want to let everybody know.
I have 3 bites. I'm now a werewolf.
I'm now a werewolf.
Right.
Here's a card.
Then you play the next third of the deck, and then there's another night card. And then at the end of the deck is the final night. And at the final night, all of the werewolves around the table are supposed to slowly start growling. And if there's all werewolves, then the werewolves win. If there's still people left alive, then the people win. And yeah, that's all there is to it. Seems like a pretty simple game. The one thing I really don't like is their art style. It's super cartoony and childish for my tastes.
Yeah, the bite card has a very, I don't know,
cartoony werewolf.
Yeah, like Muppet Babies Werewolf.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, it is, trying to rip someone apart, but not quite there.
No.
I do like some of the add-ons. So you can, one, you can get another copy of the game for cheaper for 22 versus the 24. But you can get laser etched pint glasses.
Yes.
One is not a werewolf. The other one is totally a werewolf.
Yeah. And they also have add-ons for their other older games like Chaosmos and Battle Stations, stuff like that. But
yeah, it's definitely a game that if someone else had it, I'd be like, I'd try it, especially if it, it takes, like, I know some people didn't like how long Werewolf can take, especially if you have more people. And so it seems like they changed it or they are like, that's where they sort of added the one night Ultimate Werewolf and other games like that to shorten that length while still feeling it. But I don't know about you, Adrian. Did you ever play that one?
which one?
One Night Ultimate Werewolf.
Yes, I played that once.
And I was not a fan of it.
No, I didn't like it at all.
So this one seems like it might be, at least for me, like I'd be willing to try this to see if it actually, because you're not going to get the same feeling as you would with actual Werewolf, but it seems like it's taking that style of game but adding a new or a different twist to it.
Yeah. I don't know. It might be interesting. The problem is, like, Werewolf for me fits a really good niche on its own, like being kind of an end of the night. Like, when we do play it, it's like, all right, game night's pretty much wrapped up. Let's get a game of Werewolf in, and then we'll all go home. And especially since it actually does have player elimination. That way, like, when you get eliminated, like, it's the end of the night. You can just go home. And this one, like, it still seems like it keeps some of that player elimination. But
I mean, you can die, although apparently you can still win if you die. But
yeah, if you're a human and you die, then if the humans win, you still win.
But I mean, I think mainly just the fact that it's 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know. Check it out if that sounds interesting to you.
Yeah.
I don't like the art style, but it is actually, like, I think good.
It's well done, just not in your wheelhouse. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that's GROWL.
Up next on Kickstarter is Fleet the Dice Game. Another well-funded one, about $32,000 of its $7,500 goal. Bit over 1,000 backers, but also only a bit over a week left to pledge this one, which you can for $19 for the basic edition or $26 for the deluxe edition, which, as is tradition, seems to be the way to go.
Correct. So this is a roll and write game based off of the older game Fleet, and it's going to play out over 10 rounds, with each round having 3 or 4 phases, depending. Even rounds add a fishing phase that isn't present in odd rounds. But essentially, at the start of the round, the starting player rolls dice equal to the number of players plus 1. Then everybody selects a die and uses it to unlock powers and launch boats and things. And then whatever die is left, everybody gets to use. Then during the income phase, you get your income in addition to any bonuses you may have earned. And then in even number rounds, you do the fishing phases where you collect fish in the boats that you've launched. And then during the town phase, you're going to roll dice again equal to the number of players plus 1. And you select one die to either unlock special buildings or activate ships, go to the market, get additional income, things like that. And then everybody gets to use the last die. Do that for 10 rounds and then total up your points and see who's the winner.
Have you guys done any roll and write games?
I have not really ever played roll and
I've
write
just
games.
sort of recently discovered that's a thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, there was a single player one someone was talking about, or it's something I had seen recently, and I was like, it's just you, dice, and a paper and a pencil.
Yeah, the closest I've done to roll and writes is
don't say Yahtzee.
No, Stone Age the dice game. Although also yes. No, I think it was Stone Age.
Gotcha. I've played a couple. I did the
no, it was Roll Through the Ages.
Yes, Bronze Edition or Bronze Age.
I think because they have Bronze and Stone Age, and I think I've played Roll Through the Ages, Stone Age,
and that's by Matt Leacock.
Yes,
yeah, I've played that one, and then I also played La Siesta or La Granja No Siesta.
Yeah,
that one. Very interesting. I definitely like that. I definitely haven't played them enough to to get that style of game, and I know that there are definitely some unique ones in there. I mean, on this one, I like that everybody gets their own die, but then there's also one that everybody gets to use.
Yeah,
and so that does bring up some decisions of I want to do this, but do I want to let everybody else do this? it'll help me the most, but then it'll help other people, or do you want to, choose that one just so I can do it? And then the other people get this other one that may not help me as much, but it doesn't help them as much.
Yeah.
The pieces look nice.
Yeah, the dice all have unique they're unique dice that have unique symbols. There's town dice and boat dice that you'll be choosing from. I like the artwork for like the chip cards and things.
All the dice are going to be, it was through a stretch goal. They're going to be engraved now, which is always good.
I like the $400 pledge. It is all 20 of the Griffin bookshelf series.
Holy shit. That's a lot of games.
That is a lot of games.
I mean, hopefully all those games are $20 or more.
I don't know. I've never really looked at the bookshelf series.
It says it's got a $520 MSRP.
Yeah, that's probably a good deal if you want all those bookshelf games, like For Sale and Roll Through the Ages.
Well, and a bunch of exclusive cards too, and like deluxe content, like 4 custom pens and a 5mm wooden first player marker. So it has a bunch of other bonuses too.
Oh yeah, especially like for that $99 one has that. Well, yeah, it has like some of these other ones have expansions and stuff in them too.
Yeah, bunch of cool stuff there. If you like roll and writes, maybe check out this one.
Yeah, I mean it's good. Like the deluxe one comes with the pens, because it's always a little weird to have a game that you're like, I can't actually play this game with what comes in the box.
Right?
What is this, an 18XX?
God damn it! It's not a thing.
At the very least, these games only cost $20,
True.
not $500. I'm assuming that's what an 18XX.
I think so. Yeah. I think the crappier the box, the more expensive it gets.
Jesus Christ.
I think it's every episode. Do we just shred into 18XX?
Basically,
I don't think
I've heard the shredded ones are the most expensive ones.
I've heard that too. The more crumpled and you know what? The more they get used, the more the price goes up. It's like a cast iron pan. It's nice. It's freshly seasoned. You never want to clean it.
No.
Jesus.
I don't think I've ever seen an 18XX on a board.
Anyway, no, I know you haven't. Staying on topic a little bit, for Fleet the Dice game, if you're interested in it, you can also check out Cloak and Meeple did a preview of it. They're members of Punchboard Media. And so you can check out their video that will overview the game a little bit and show some of the gameplay as well. And then check out the Kickstarter if you're interested.
Indeed.
Did it say how long it was supposed to take? 30 minutes?
Yes, 30 minutes.
That seems about right. I feel like these style of games shouldn't go for much longer than that.
Yeah, definitely not.
A 3-hour roll and write.
Oh, God.
Next up in Kickstarters is Miskatonic University, the Restricted Collection board game. Well-funded, $51,000 of its $25,000 goal, 1,700 backers, and a bit less than 2 weeks left to pledge this one, which you can for $25.
Yeah, so this is Chaosium's return to board games, and they are pairing up with Reiner Knizia for this one.
I like the player desk boards.
Yes. So the way this game plays is that you are all working together to do research in the Miskatonic Library to get the chief librarian the information he needs to go out and fight eldritch horrors and do things like that. So it plays out over 5 rounds, and each round continues until no one's left in the library. Basically, you can get expelled if you ever accidentally end up with duplicates of things, or you can leave voluntarily when you feel like you've gotten enough stuff together. But you take turns selecting library cards and placing them face up on your player mats. They are divided into 3 types of cards: sigil pieces, grimoire fragments, and graduate students. And they fit really nice in that player mat. Like, that's what Zach was saying there.
I enjoy that graduate students are a resource.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, 100%.
Just as it should be.
Yeah.
A disposable resource.
And so how they fit is basically all the cards are like slightly askew, but they're supposed to, they fit in perfectly with the player board from a digital representation. Like, who knows? Hopefully it actually fits to that, but it always like it when you're like, this looks like this fits right here, and it nestles in right nice, and you're just like, yeah. And what are those cards called? The sigil piece cards. The fact that the backs like match together to make one giant picture.
Yeah,
an elder sign.
Yeah.
Well, and so like there's different pieces of them, so you have to get the right pieces, and if you end up with duplicates, that's one of the situations where you get expelled. I was looking at the word expulsion as I said expelled, and my brain combined them. If you ever end up with duplicates of those sigil cards or the grimoire fragments that go on the right-hand side of the player board, that's what will get you expelled from the library.
It's probably because Ian O'Toole did the graphic design.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
That dude's art is just fantastic.
This one has a $800 pledge.
Oh,
I don't know if it's already been taken or not. But you get the game of framed diploma, name in the rulebook, a personalized MU Miskatonic University plaque, and a personalized version of the game. And you get to choose all of the names and departments for your own version of the game.
You get your own unique printing of this game.
Yeah, all 5 of those are still available.
What? People don't want to pay a shitload of money to make their own game?
Correct.
There's a lot of high-level pledges on this.
Yeah, 5 of the $300, 1 of a $350. Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
One set of the $600 pledges has been sold out. One set of $650 pledges has been sold out.
Oh, because those are one backer only.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stick with like maybe the $25 pledge.
Yeah.
Is that all right? Can I do that?
You don't want to pay for, you don't want to spend as much money as 20 copies of the book of the game.
I could buy 2 artist edition Iron Harvests for that price.
Mm-hmm.
That's like $400 each.
Yes.
So, I don't know, kind of an interesting little like set collection game.
Yeah.
From Reiner Knizia.
It's got a good price.
Not too shabby.
Next up in Kickstarters is the Faceless, well-funded, 105,000 of its $25,000 goal, about 1,500 backers, and a bit over 2 weeks left to pledge this one, which you can for $60.
So this is a cooperative game where 2 to 4 players are going to be taking on the role of kids from Elm Street who are journeying into the Dusk World to look for their lost friend, Ethan. And basically, the hook of this whole game is that the player pieces you're going to that comes with magnets that go into them, and that will affect a compass that you'll move around the board, and that will determine like you move it in the direction the needle's pointing. So as it moves around players, it's going to shift. And so you're going to want to try and like place yourself in interesting ways to make that go where you want it to, which I think is just kind of a cool, interesting mechanic.
Yeah, it seems like you're moving the compass around, and if you're placing your figures, you're making it point away, so it'll move that direction.
Correct. Plus, it comes with some pretty cool little player character miniatures that are like double-sided. Like one side's supposed to be like our world, the other's like the Dusk World. Which some of that art is super creepy. Which I think is cool. I like creepy shit.
It's very Nightmare Before Christmas, Tim Burton-y.
Yeah. The Kickstarter exclusive Servants of Billy Goat really remind me of the Donnie Darko, like the rabbit suit thing.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
I'm sure that rabbit suit dude had a name.
I just don't, I'm trying to blank.
Was it Fred? Fred the rabbit?
Might have been.
Yeah.
Another thing with this Kickstarter, it is only through Kickstarter that you can get this. They're not doing retail. They're not doing late pledges. Nothing. Yeah, they have a statement about Kickstarter being an amazing asset to put gamers and publishers in communication, and that they feel the minimum they can do for their backers is to give them the privilege of being the only ones to get this game. So if this game sounds interesting and you want it, you have one chance to get it through the Kickstarter, and that's it.
And there will also not be accepting late pledges.
Yeah.
But for a 2 to 4 player co-op game that takes 45 minutes, seems pretty cool.
Yeah, especially if it uses magic.
Magic, yes.
Magnets, how do they work? They still have a decent amount of stretch goals to unlock too as they go along.
They do have a retail pledge at least, so it looks like there'll be some retail shops that will back this. So there might be a chance for you to get it later if
it just won't have a wide retail.
Exactly,
release.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the Faceless.
Next up on Kickstarter is The Estates. Well-funded, 48,000 of its $25,000 goal, 823 backers, but only a little over a week to pledge this one, which is $49.
Yep. So this was the other game I played this week. I went up on Thursday night and did a live stream with Heavy Cardboard, Edward, Jerry, and then Clay, the owner of Capstone Games, who's publishing this. The 4 of us did a full-on teaching and play of it. We played 2 rounds because this game can be played over multiple rounds with certain things kind of carrying over from round to round. But essentially, the idea behind this game is that you are all developers who are trying to develop this new region of town.
Developers?
Yeah.
Developers.
Developers.
Developers. Developers. Developers. Developers.
Developers.
Developers.
I hate you guys.
Do you get the reference though, right?
No.
Oh, it was one of the head Xbox guy or Microsoft guys. He just was out on stage, running back and forth on stage, just screaming, "Developers, developers, developers, developers," like 300 times.
Oh.
He was real excited about developers.
Oh. No, I didn't know.
How could you not be?
I think he went on to be head one of like the Xbox divisions. But
Sounds about right.
Gotcha.
it's classic.
But anyway, so in this game, you're developers who are competing for city contracts to build in this new region of the city. And essentially, the game is divided. The game board's divided into two main areas. The main area that was zoned for development, they wanted to build 2 rows of up to 4 buildings for this new area. But being greedy developers that you are, you start developing 3 rows. And they only wanted to go up to the river. They wanted to leave across the river open for city parks. But again, being greedy developers, you can potentially sneakily obtain permits that allow you to build further out. But as the game goes on your turn, you're going to choose one of 6 available cubes and put it up for auction. It's going to around the table with everybody bidding on it. And then when it comes back around to the person who put it up for auction, they can choose to either...
Bidding on it once.
Bidding on it once, yeah. When it gets back around to the auctioneer, they can choose to pay whoever had the highest bid, whatever that bid was, and take the piece themselves, or the person with the highest bid pays the auctioneer and then gets to place the piece. There's certain areas on the board that are restricted to only being 1 block tall. Other places can be up to 6 blocks tall because basically you can place a block on any block that's higher than it. So like if there's a 6, you can place a 5 through a 1 on top of it. And whatever cube is on top, whatever color cube is on top represents what company is it like in control of that building. And the first player to take any colored cube gets control of that color for the rest of that game round. And essentially you keep doing that and building these up until eventually you complete 2 of the 3 rows, at which point you'll stop and do scoring. The 2 rows that are completed, you get positive points for all of your buildings.
Based on whatever that number is,
yeah,
right?
Based on the total number of the pieces in the stacks. Like if it was a 6, a 2, a 1, you're going to get 9, plus the roof was maybe a 2. So you get 11 points for that building. If it's in the 3rd row, the one that wasn't completed, you're going to get negative points for all of those buildings. And you total up, and whoever has the most wins. And you can just play 1 round and just be done with it. Or you can write those scores down and then set up for a second round with everybody keeping the money that they have. So if you did a good job of hoarding money, you'll start the second round with a bunch of money. And if you spent all your money, then you'll start the next round with no money and kind of have to deal with that. I had a ton of fun playing this game. It was just an absolute blast. There's a solid amount of take that as you try and force people to have expensive buildings and rows that are going to go negative while trying to take over buildings that are going to be worth a lot of points. And yeah, I just really dug that. I thought it played really well. I thought at the beginning of the video, Clay reads from a bit that's going to be in the rule book that essentially like explains much more elegantly the story there of the game and like why you're placing things where and like why the mechanics matter. And I thought that thematic tie-in was really good. I think the game board looks fantastic, especially compared to the old Neue Heimat game board, which is just a bunch of green squares.
Yeah, I was watching the...
Is that the game you were asking about?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was watching the live stream and I was like, that new board looks way better.
Yeah. Plus, just most of the art and components already are significantly going to be upgraded in the estates.
I think one of their stretch goals is even better upgraded pieces.
Yeah, 80,000 is the big stretch goal that they are hoping to hit. They're little over halfway there right now, but that one will allow them to silk screen all 4 sides with a unique pattern so that you can really clearly identify like what number and color is which building space.
Gotcha.
Which is awesome.
And if you want to watch that 3-hour live stream Adrian was on,
Yes.
It's on their Kickstarter page.
Yep. And it's 3 hours because we did a full, very lengthy, in-depth rules teach. Then we played 2 back-to-back games of it.
Yeah.
So it's not that this isn't a 3-hour game. It's like a 30 to 45 minute game once you know how to play and knock it out.
And if you want to go to like timestamp 249, it's coming. Adrian's talking. There it is. 249.50. Someone references the floor slap as Adrian was in first place and then didn't win.
I lost by 2 points.
Nice.
And somebody said, "Did I hear someone slap the floor there at the end?" Must have been a listener named Anthony.
Yes.
Yes, Anthony C.
Yes.
There's too many A names, and we need to thin those people down.
Wow. That took a turn, Jeff. He did later say in the live chat that he would buy me a beer the next time if he makes it down here to Denver to game with us sometime.
Yeah.
So, no, I saw that, and part of me died inside, but then part of me was like, I'm seeing inside jokes from my show on a Heavy Cardboard live stream, and that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but this game really was an absolute ton of fun. I'm going to be going tomorrow up to like Michael's and trying to get the components to make a bootleg copy of it so I can show people it at game night and actually like get people playing it and convince them that it's good and they need to back it. Just like I convinced like 5 people at Gen Con last year to buy the climbers.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it for Kickstarters.
That is indeed it for Kickstarters. Moving on, we didn't have any emails.
No emails at milehighgameguys.com.
Indeed, y'all are slacking. We did have one response on a previous BGG post. Zach, do you have that pulled up?
I do. This is for our Flow of History review, or this is from Paulo. And really, he's really not even commenting to us as much as rebuking the last person, Tom, who did not like the game at all.
Yeah. And this comment was posted before our review actually dropped, I believe, right?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
It was basically the next morning.
Yeah.
So he goes, couldn't disagree more with Tom. I have the first edition of the game and sold it to get the deluxeified one. That's how much I like the game. I don't agree that saying the game lacks variability because all the cards come out in every game. And through the ages, all the cards are in the game every game, and there are no 2 games that are alike. The order the cards come out, the actions you and other players do have a deep impact on how each game is played, etc. So there's a lot of replayability out of the box, even if all the cards are used in every game. Regarding the theme, I think it's a matter of personal opinion. Your group might not feel like they're building a civilization, but the people I've played with might not have been blown away by the theme, but they did feel it there. The feeling of the richer gets richer, I also don't think that's there. If someone has more resources, they can guarantee to get a card if they want bidding high to get it to prevent others from being able to snipe. That's true. But that also means that they're spending their resources and even getting the invest bonus. And even with getting the investment, they won't be in the same position of power after having spent the resources. Also, if someone has a lot of resources, they are able to snipe anyone on the board, but being sniped isn't a bad thing. When you're sniped, you get a lot of resources. Usually you double the amount you invested, so you can even strategically invest in a card you know the richer person wants, so that he snipes you and you profit from it, even if you didn't want the card yourself. Just be careful and not to overinvest and be stuck with the card.
Yeah.
And to address that richer get rich problem, there's the communism card that will redistribute all the resources that the players have and divide it equally. So if you're hoarding a lot of resources, it might backfire on you. To me, this is a great game. It gets the feel of a big Civ game and it plays in less than 90 minutes.
These are all reasonable things to
Yes,
say.
they are.
Yes.
No, I definitely know at one point I was playing with someone and there was a newer person and I was like, look, you know that I want this card and I have a lot of resources. Make me pay for it because I'm going to be taking it regardless.
Yeah.
And that communism card definitely can do it, but I always found it anytime it came out, people's resources changed too frequently that anytime they had the amount of money to get it, they're like, I don't want to get it now because I have a lot of resources. And anytime they didn't have it, they're like, yeah, but I don't have any money to put towards it.
Yeah.
$1.
I think
Yeah.
it needs to be one really where like the person to the left of whoever's the wealthiest bids like $1, so
Mhm.
that then the person to the left of that person immediately snipes it
Yep.
before the person with all the money
Mhm.
can invest
Dump.
heavily in something.
100%. Yeah.
You're like, all
Yeah.
my money is on here now.
Yeah, really, it should be to stop one person who has just a shitload of money.
Yeah.
Because most of the time it was always like two people had a lot of money, and one person just kept going down from no money to a lot of money to no money to a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
Paulo also commented over on YouTube where he listens to our episodes.
because
He's
we have
our-
he's the
YouTube.
only listener.
I think he's our sole YouTube listener. So we're doing all of the
Just know it's all
YouTubing.
for you, Paula.
Yeah, all for you. He comments and says, "I really like the flow of history. You guys clearly don't know what you were talking about." So, yes. Yeah, sorry, it didn't blow any of us away. We all liked it.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
like I said, I'll probably play this again.
Mhm.
It wasn't like, other games that I loathe with a fiery passion.
Mhm.
But
The
yeah,
fiery passion of a son, if you would.
yes, one that is rising.
Yeah,
Into
just
the
like your
air.
anger whenever you think about it.
Yeah, my blood pressure is spiking right now.
I think
But
that's just health issues.
but thanks, Paulo, for the comments both on the guild and on YouTube. Really appreciate that. Anybody else who wants to get a hold of us, you can send us emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can also follow us on Twitter. I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
And I am Jeff_MHGG.
We have that Board Game Geek Guild with those episode posts. That's guild number 2731. There's Facebook and Instagram /MileHighGameGuys. And we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/MileHighGameGuys if you want to support the show financially. We certainly appreciate it, even if Jeff will talk shit about you for only giving $1.
Unless you give more than $1, then it's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, thanks everybody for listening. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. It was brought to you by Gray Fox Games. They are our new sponsors for this episode, and they have a fantastic social deduction game, Deception, Murder in Hong Kong, that they released back in 2014. It just had an expansion come out, Deception, Undercover Allies, that adds new characters and new special abilities to both the investigators and the killers, and it adds more means and clue cards, so there's more variety in case you were starting to get tired of seeing the same old weapons and things used to kill people over and over again.
You can only kill so many people with a hammer before you're like, this is boring.
I got to bring out the balloons next time.
Yeah.
I like that it adds things like Death Ray and Laser Shark.
Yes.
Is Dr. Evil a character in here?
Characters he should be.
Hashtag RIP Vern Troyer.
Oh,
Indeed.
yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I do not believe that Dr. Evil is a character in this one. But I could be wrong. But yeah, so check out that expansion for Deception. Deception, Murder in Hong Kong, and then the expansion Deception, Undercover Allies. From Gray Fox Games, our sponsors for this episode. Thanks, guys.
Gray Fox Games, quality games, cleverly crafted.
Jeff with his prepared statement, as always.
I also have another prepared quote from Gray Fox.
Okay.
I was taken from the battle, neither truly alive nor truly dead, an undying shadow in a world of lights. Now, in front of you, I can finally die.
That's dark.
Yeah, that's Gray Fox.
Yep.
Super dark. He got turned into a robot ninja, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucked.
Yeah.
I never played any of the Metal Gear games.
Ooh. Ah.
That sting a bit, Jeff.
Yeah. Fuck.
Oh, geez. Well, thanks everybody for listening to this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Be sure to listen in on Friday where we will be comparing a trio/quartet of cooperative card placement games, card playing games.
Cooperative card playing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I said card placement, but that was just sound more official.
Yeah. We'll be covering Hanabi, The Mind, and The Grizzled as the main three, and then Zach and I will also talk a little bit about the game, since we've played that recently as well. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that episode, and I've enjoyed this one. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm not a Mensa member, Jeff.
Bye.
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 Insult people into purchases. That's the American way.
Yeah.
Indeed. I mean, that's how we've gotten people to listen to our show.
Yeah.
Just insult them constantly on the show until they listen to the show.
No, but we insult the people who are listening to the show.
Also,
yes.
Also people that give us money.
Yes.
Yeah. Just everyone.
No, we insult them into giving us more money. That's what that's.
See? It works.
Yeah. The system works.
Sure. I'll take your word for it.
Punchboard Media, where we all
bring something
to the table.
pull up a chair
At punchboardmedia.com.